Hey YouTube, Dawson Rider here. Welcome to my review for the Mighty Morphin Tyrannosaurus Sentry from Mighty Morphin Power Rangers Comics. So if you don't know, these Sentry forms are from the comics world, and they are specifically from a world called the world of the Coinless, which is a continuity in which Tommy stayed the evil Green Ranger, and after he defeated the Rangers, he took their power coins and used them to power his forces. He divvied up all the power coins between his armies. They're kind of like his stormtroopers, and these are the Red Ranger Sentries, which are at the top of the food chain. So pretty cool stuff. I really dig it. Honestly, I thought they were just called the Red Ranger Sentries, and maybe they are, but the box for this calls it the Tyrannosaurus Sentries. I guess they did call the other ones Mastodon Sentries. I don't know. I guess just in my head I've been calling them the Red Ranger Sentries. Anyway, I was actually pretty excited for this. It is a Target exclusive, and there was a bit of a journey to getting it, as I pre-ordered it a long time ago, and I had to re-pre-order it 3 times because I kept getting emails from Target saying, your pre-order's been canceled, we're sorry. And then I went to the site, and it was still available, and I pre-ordered it again. I just thought that was interesting and worth note, but so you'll be able to find this at Target. But I was excited for it, because the comics are one of my personal favorite things about the franchise in recent years, and I really dig all the forms and the stories they have, and I really liked the idea of getting to add some Sentries to my collection. Anyway, that's enough about me. Actually, let's talk more about me. So I was born in... No, I'm just kidding. So accessories-wise, pretty minimal, to be honest, but he doesn't necessarily need a whole lot more. He does have his weapon here, which, as you can see, it's kind of like a spear version of the Power Sword. You have a version of the Power Sword on each side, and all of the Sentries kind of have unique spins on the standard weapons like that, which is pretty neat. It also kind of reminds me in a way, even though this predates it, but getting this figure makes me think of it, reminds me in a way of the Turtles weapons, the way they're kind of a spin on the classic weapons. He also has lightning effect part. Again, my least favorite part of the lightning figures is lightning effect parts. Anyway, and then he's got 2 sets of hands, the ones that are on him for holding weapons, and then your standard figure arts fists, aka closed fists. Not a huge deal. He doesn't really have anything too much else he could come with. If it were me, I would maybe want one more set of hands that was just kind of like a relaxed, kind of posed martial arty hand, but it's not a deal breaker. It just seems a little bit minimal. But otherwise, overall, I'm really happy with this figure. I have some minor nitpicks with it, but nothing that's going to be a deal breaker. Did I already say that? I don't know. The helmet, you can see, is a version of the more fixed MMPR red helmet. I do not have my regular one on hand, but I'll put up a little footage or picture comparison here. But if you remember, the original MMPR red figure release had that weird squished helmet. They have since released an improved version with the metallic figure, and this uses a version of that. You still have the silver outline instead of white. I don't remember if in the comic it's different, but on the box it shows as white. It's not a huge deal. And you can see that the other difference as part of the design is they actually have sort of the normal mouthpieces rather than the creepy Purge Night lip pieces that the other ones have. I know that's iconic, but sometimes they still weird me out a little bit. But I really like the helmet. I think they did a good job on it. I like that it's the more fixed version. I think it's well-rounded. I think overall, for me personally, the look of this figure is nice because it feels like it could be both live action and representative of the comic. Right here, you have this little weird bit here where they're clearly using, the standard mold as a base, which is fine. And then you have all these little drawn-in bits here, which look a little bit drawn in. It low-key looks like a little kid opened this up and was like, that's what little kids do, I guess. And then they put it back in. So it does look a little bit odd. For me, it's nothing off-putting enough that I would be like, oh, this is trash for my collecting sensibilities. The average Lightning Collection fan. It does look a little bit weird, but the style they went for with it, even though I think this looks a little strange, like I said, I do kind of like it because it both simultaneously feels like a live-action version of the suit, and it feels like it represents the way it looks and feels in the comic, if that makes any sense. You have the cape here, which I think is overall pretty nice. It's kind of a soft, hard rubber. I know that sounded, kind of confusing, but it's not exactly one solid hard piece, but it's not super malleable, like the recent Figure Arts Zenkaiser one. You can move it a little bit, and I think it overall looks nice. I like what they did with it. I like the way that this sort of replicates the look of the cloth. I think the symbol here on the side looks nice, and I think it adds to the overall personality of the figure. And I just like the general, bulk of the figure and the details added from the unique aspects of the suit. Again, I think this all overall adds up to it looking like a mix between live action and cartoon, which I really like. And then articulation, you have your standard par for the course Lightning Collection figure articulation. You have your nice ball hinge joint up here, swiveling, elbow joint, swiveling here at the fist, ball joint here at the leg, knee joint here. The cape is removable. I was just going to get to that, thank you, spoiler alert. And then you have your little joint here at the foot, hinge joint here, waist joint here, and then the ball joint at the head. The cape is removable. He looks really weird without the cape with the black collar. He looks like he has a really long neck, but it's easy enough to get on and off, which is really nice. And like none of the articulation is hindered necessarily because of that, but if you want to keep the cape on, you will be dealing with it sort of keeping things slightly hindered as you try to pose it. Although the nice thing about the cape being removable is you can take it off and sort of get him in the pose you want him in and then put the cape back on. But honestly, overall, I'm really happy with this figure, to be honest. Like I said, the comic stuff is kind of at the top of my list, even though some of it, like this, is a repurposed MMPR design, but yet I still really like them personally. I really like the Sentries. I hope we get all of them one day. My only real complaint about it is I think that this part here... Sorry, I forgot, I use the Force sometimes. Is that this part here does look a little weird and scribbly. But for me, again, it's nothing that's would stop me from buying this figure whether I was reviewing this or not, because setting that aside, I still think it's a good looking figure and I'm happy to own it at the price point. You know, it's not like this is a $150 collectible. This is like a standard reasonably priced collector's figure, and I'm still happy to have it. So I think if you're like me and you just can't stop using the Force, I need to just stop being lazy and position his legs correctly. There we go. If you're like me and you're a fan of the comics and you're a fan of this form, I can recommend it. I think you'll be happy with it. But that's about it for this one, guys. Until next time, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and climb the steps and ring that bell so you get notifications for my videos. Dawson Ryder, signing out.